Anthony Davis, the Pelicans.
Biggest
benching, fine. Oh, what's going on here? What's the issue?
I feel like my man AD, he didn't play his cards correctly. He went into the situation looking like my guy Melo, man, and he didn't learn the Melo lesson that you just need to wait out your contract. And don't force anything, because if you force it, the team that you're going to is going to get raped, man. You see the deal they tried to pull off to try to get the Lakers to deal with New Orleans, and come to find out, as reports have gone, the Magic said that the New Orleans Pelicans did not negotiate in good faith. They simply were negotiating to disrupt the chemistry of the Los Angeles Lakers. They knew they were not going to give up Anthony Davis because they didn't like the players that the Los Angeles Lakers had. So they simply did this to disrupt the chemistry of the Los Angeles Lakers this year, who are projected to be a low playoff seed anyway. So hopefully they were battling with them, and this is what set them off to be maybe a 9th or 10th seed when you need 8 to get in the playoffs. So I mean, it was some real petty shit. I feel
talking about petty, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel like this. Yeah, there's some real petty shit about the New Orleans Pelicans, man. And maybe genius level petty, but it was definitely petty. Anthony Davis showed his cards too fast. He said he wanted out, and you should have left it at that. You should have left it at, I want out of here, and then let everything else play out. But letting teams know that you're not going to re-sign with them. It kind of cuffed, it handcuffed the team when you should just wait, man. Wait it out. You're a max player. You're going to get your bread, and wait till you can have the power to change things. It's LeBron. I know LeBron is calling for you. The King has summoned you, but at the same time, the King waited till he was a free agent, and then he went over to Los Angeles. You need to be in control of your destiny before you start making demands like that. We've already seen. Learn your lesson from Carmelo Anthony. It doesn't work this way. You can't force your way out.
Now, explain to people why this play doesn't work that way.
It doesn't work because he's still 2 years into it. He has 2 years left on the contract. If you got 1 year left on your contract, that's when you can start kind of making those demands, because at that point, teams are giving up too much for what they call a quote-unquote rental. Right. When I've only got you for a year and a half, a year or a half a year of your contract, I don't want to give up so much, and I'm not getting so much in return because I'm only going to have you for about 8 or 9 months under contract. But a lot of teams are starting to venture out and making those plays, a la the Paul George situation. Paul George was on a crash course with Los Angeles Lakers. Everybody knew he was going there. He's a LA-born kid. That's where he was supposed to be, but got traded to the Oklahoma City Thunder and was wooed by the franchise. Ended up signing an extension there. So the same process is being applied to Kawhi Leonard right now, who is another Los Angeles-born guy who was looking for either the Clippers, the Lakers, or some other team to make a free agency splash with. But if the Raptors, get deep enough in the playoffs, you might be able to make an argument for Kawhi Leonard to stay right where he is. There are chances to make. There are plays to make out here. They got to be willing to go all in with players who are on the fence about what their situations are going to be, though. Anthony Davis is one of those guys who should have just shut his mouth, waited it out, and maybe you make this stink in the off season, in the summer, where everybody's got some time to make things happen. You get some time to convince some people. When you're up against a deadline like this, you kind of played your hand, and all really New Orleans has to do is just wait it out. We don't like the offers. We don't like the offer.
Right. So it seems like they were going to bench him.
Yeah, they did initially because we all know Anthony Davis's injury history. Yeah. He ain't the most durable guy. So it's really no point in even risking your product by, he liable to tear a knee or break an elbow or some weird freaky shit that he does from time to time when, a whole franchise is, put on your shoulders. He tends to waver a lot, man. He's made some noise in the playoffs when he finally had a healthy year last year. They were a 7 seed, beat a 2 seed against the Portland Trailblazers last year. So he's valuable. Don't get me wrong. There's a reason he's one of the most coveted players in the NBA. But he hasn't done enough for me, man, to be this sought after. He's not that that big of a winner to me. To be,
but you think he would be a difference maker?
Oh, most definitely a difference maker.
Yeah.
But he has to be with somebody who's maybe it's his turn to be a 2 at this point.
Right.
Because as a 1, it's not really not really much popping there for him.
So as far as resting a player, there are rules with regards to that. Why are those rules in place?
Those rules are in place for it's a long season, man. It's one of the most grueling and taxing seasons on NBA. NBA players play. I guess the worst would be baseball. They play 162 games. But if you make a solid run, let's say you've been healthy all year, Diamond. So you play your preseason, you play your regular season. You make a deep playoff run. Heaven forbid you actually win the NBA championship. Some hard long game, 7-game series in there, and then you play Team USA basketball too. Mm-hmm. You've played over 100 games that year. 100 games at 15 minutes a quarter. It's grueling. It's taxing on the body. They've made the NBA Players Union and the NBA have made it so that you don't have as many back-to-back games. And that's when you see LeBron sitting out for shit like load management. Right. And what that simply is saying is, I got too much on my shoulders. It's too much going on here. I've got to take a couple of days off just so I can be ready. They have these things called scheduled losses you may hear about. And that's just basically like, look, we just played the Golden State Warriors on Tuesday. And then on Wednesday, we're supposed to go and play the Portland Trail Blazers. We're not going to win both of these games. If we get up, and you know what? And it may be even worse. It may be Portland Trail Blazers on Tuesday, and then you got to wake up and turn around and play the Golden State Warriors on the back-to-back. And you fly from Portland all the way to California, all the way to L.A.
Right.
So those kind of things are scientifically proven to put wear and tear on your body. So why would I continue to basically put my most valuable asset at risk? So what's being done with Anthony Davis is, you're still under contract and you still owe us games, but we may not play you on back-to-backs. We may sit you in close games where it's the third quarter and you've already played 35 minutes. So no, you're not playing the fourth, just because we don't want to risk you being hurt.
Right.
We know you got 30. You're hot. We know the offense is running through you right now, but you don't want to be here. And we at this point are trying to get rid of you. So you're going to see a lot of weird shit going on towards the end of the season for the New Orleans Pelicans, man. It's going to be like, damn, how he had 27 and 15 and didn't play the fourth quarter. But
they also have to be careful of not trying to seem like they're trying to intentionally tank the season.
At the same time, though, we all know what the game plan is. You can't really. I mean, you can. He's under contract. You can ask for him to give his all, but at the same time, he's not.
Yeah.
So why play that game? Why pretend? Like, he's going to go out there because he still has incentives to get in his contract. He still wants to be, NBA first all team. So he's eligible for those, those huge contracts that he's getting. But at the end of the day, who are you fooling? Who are you playing with? You don't want me to be here because I don't want to be here. So there's going to be some kind of mutual agreement, and if they are a respectable franchise, they got to call Anthony Davis in there and have that conversation, and don't have him guessing, throughout the rest of the season, or it's going to get ugly.
Can this be worked out?
I don't think it's salvageable at this point. And like, what are we really working out? Like, Anthony Davis has been with that franchise his entire career. They've had ample opportunities to give him a winning team. They have proven to be incapable of that. Why is he continuing to waste years off of his career to give them a chance to what?
You think this is like what LeBron went through?
I feel like it's what Kevin Garnett went through.
Okay.
Kevin Garnett gave that team 12, 13 years of his prime, and they could not put together a good enough team to get him over the hump to win a championship. So at the end of the day, he asked to be traded to a contender so that he could fight for a championship.
So could not or would not? Maybe they thought. Do you think that they thought that that's what they were doing?
Kevin
Garnett.
Kevin Garnett, what was sending him to Boston?
No, before that.
Do you think they were trying to build?
Yeah.
Of course they were trying to win. They got to the Western Conference Finals. They got there. They just couldn't do it. They couldn't put together a good enough team to help Kevin Garnett get to the championship. It wasn't any fault of his own. He won MVP. He won first team.
So everything. He did his thing.
He did what he was supposed to do. They couldn't give him the pieces. The same shit happened with LeBron in Cleveland the first time around.
Yes.
He did everything he could to drag that weak-ass franchise all the way to the NBA Finals where they got their boots smoked by the San Antonio Spurs. He lost 4-0. Sure. And at that point, it's like, yo, what the hell else am I supposed to do? And at that point, y'all tried to give me Antoine Jameson and who was Sasha Pavlovich. Like, those were his and Shaq. That's who they gave him that first time around. He's like, man, I'm out of here. I'm going to Miami. I'm going to go play with my friends. Like, this is some bullshit. I'm not doing this. That's what I'm saying. Like, what are you supposed to give? And at the end of the day, if you were loyal, you end up being who? You end up being Charles Barkley. You end up being Reggie Miller. You end up being Patrick Ewing. Like, you end up being these guys who are lifers with these teams who didn't get championships because
and should have. Everybody you mentioned should have.
It should have gotten championships, but stayed loyal to these franchises and were guilted in society pressured into staying with franchises who don't give a shit about you. Now, the Harrison Barnes situation. Come to find out, he actually asked to play in that game. For those who don't know, Harrison Barnes was traded in the middle of a game. Was out there,
which is crazy.
It's crazy, right? But at the same time,
now he asked for what?
He asked because going into that game, they said, "Listen, Harrison, it's the NBA trade deadline. You may get moved prior to the deadline."
Right.
And he said, "You know what? I don't care. I'm going to go out there, and play anyway." So, which is cool of him. He ended up being traded to the Sacramento Kings from the Dallas Mavericks. But at the same time, it just shows that you are property. That contract that you sign is for your service, and if another team covets that service, they're going to do what they can to get that service away from wherever you are. Family, friends, living situation. Be damned. Like, you can go from
they don't give a fuck.
You can go from running the Dallas Mavericks offense to perfection, scoring 27 points, to come here, let me talk to you for a second. Yeah, you live in Sacramento now. Good luck with that shit. Yeah, we just brought in the unicorn, and we want him to be a second option. So, peace, nigga. Get up out of here. And that's what it is. So, can you really be mad at Anthony Davis? Can you really be mad at a Carmelo Anthony? Can you be mad at a LeBron James or Kevin Durant type who knows how good they are and want to play somewhere else? At this point, I feel like this franchise hasn't done enough for me to put me in a winning situation. I want to go somewhere else.
Right.
How can you be mad at that?
I mean, if we the franchise, you mad?
Oh yeah.
You gonna feel what? We just trying to move all these pieces around.
Understand how us as individuals, I side with the franchises. Like, at the end of the day, you're really just rooting for. Are you rooting for laundry, or are you rooting for the logo?
They're rooting for the logo.
And I've always been an individual guy. I'm rooting for an individual to do well, not for the laundry they have on.
Now, how much of that do you think is the fact that you play as well and you understand the mindset of the player more?
I understand that, but at the end of the day, why are you siding with billionaires? You know what I'm saying? Like, these people don't give a fuck about you. If anybody you're going to care about, you want to care about the guy who basically took his life and dedicated it to one trade and made it so that he could support himself and his family.
Fans should be able to relate more to the player who came from the hood.
Exactly.
And,
you should be able to relate
went to college and then got his opportunity.
Arthur Blank, who owns the fucking Atlanta Falcons, who made his fortune through Home Depot. Like, how do you relate to him? Right. You want to see Julio take a pay cut so that he can fit there with Matt Ryan? No, Julio need to get $135 million if you can give it to him. I need every possible penny. That's what you should be rooting for, man. Is us getting up out of these situations.
Last thing before we get out of here, did you get a chance to see yesterday's game when your boy Kevin Durant
gets away with another bullshit?
Yes.
Is it because he's so slim?
What's going on here?
Or they try? Is a plot?
They should have lost that game.
They should have lost. This is another situation. I think they lost the game where he stepped out of bounds and threw the ball in.
Right.
I forget who they were playing in that game.
Right.
Was that I think that was the Rockets game.
Yeah.
That he stepped out of bounds. And this one double dribbled, travel. Depending on how you see it or whatever.
Yeah.
But continues to get away with bullshit, man. It's like the rich getting richer. It's like it's like the Patriots, but they not doing it. It's like the refs doing it for them.
Yes. I'm glad you made that.
It's like you already got 5 of the best players in the NBA. You don't need 3 extra ones to help you.
Right.
On the court.
Looks like they work at Foot Locker.
It's extremely frustrating. You ruined D-Wade's last game in Oakland, goddammit. Should have been a win. D-Wade, have you no class? It's D-Wade's final tour, man. Can't be ruining his games. It's the Flash. Can't ruin the Flash's games.
Well, Hall of Fame career?
Dwayne Wade?
Yeah.
Without question, Diamond. 3 NBA championships. One of the best runs in the NBA Finals ever. That Dallas Mavericks run with him and Shaq. I think he was averaging something like 36, 37 a games, averaging like 15 free throw attempts. James Harden like numbers. That's what he was doing. I think he had like 20 free throws in one of those games. His rise to fame from Marquette, man. He had triple double in the Final 4 games, something like that. Dwayne Wade's definitely a Hall of Famer, easily. Probably top 3, 4 shooting guards of all time.
That's big. That's big. Yeah.
Dwayne Wade's put some respect on his name.
From what you've heard about him behind the scenes, is he a good guy? Is he an asshole?
Dwayne Wade's a stand-up guy.
That's good.
It's been a lot. Yeah, he had a lot going on, especially early on in his career with his the original Mrs. Wade.
Yeah,
there's a lot going on there. I don't have time to get into it now, but Dwayne Wade's a stand-up guy. Haven't heard any bad things about Dwayne Wade or behind the scenes anything like that.
Yeah, that's good. That's good to know. Yeah, I always like
except for herpes. That's all I heard.
Well, you heard that?
I heard herpes. But speculation. Maybe not.
Maybe not. We gotta get out of here.
It's always you do this every time, Diamond. The show's over, and I say some wild ass shit at the end. It's a setup. It's a setup. And this is exactly why I need to change my first and last name on my Facebook profile. There's always some problematic shit at the end of the show. It's a cool show right into the last minute.
You said it.
I did say it, but I feel like I was set up. I feel like it was an interview.